everybody. It's me, that bitch lurking in the corner.
And born hater, Mason.
And you know it's good when you hear
Rykon Topany. And we are finally back with a Rykon Topany after like months. It's gotta be months.
It has to have been a while because let's see, we did the color purple. I don't even remember what we did before the color purple, but I feel like we have not been in Thailand for a strong minute.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there hasn't been anything in Thailand to pull us back in a strong minute, you know?
Not until today.
Not until today. A show which, I get, you know what, let's be upfront. I'm pretty sure we both loved this show. So,
you know, I'm a grown woman, but every once in a while I'll see things that are like completely frivolous and I'll lose my mind over them, even though I am a serious person. I pay bills, I pay taxes, but yeah, this show is like, it's frivolous. It's a marshmallow, but I love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the show we're talking about is Bad Buddy.
Oh yeah. It's honestly probably the best GMMTV show in a while, if not maybe ever, in some way.
Say it for the ones in the back. Hot take, unpopular opinion, Ohm and Nanon have more chemistry than Bright and Win will ever have.
Oh, by far. Bright and Win was like two models forced to do a TV show about boys kissing. This was like actors acting. Like,
yes,
it was giving me Emmys. It was giving me everything.
This show is so good. Okay, so I just want to, before we get into the synopsis and our review and everything else, I just want to talk a little bit about GMMTV because I feel like we have to refresh everybody's memory about what kind of a love-hate situation we have with GMMTV. Because if we don't, the stuff we say afterwards won't make any sense. So just to be very clear, Mason and I have a love-hate relationship with GMMTV because on the one hand, some of our favorite stuff has been done by GMMTV, but on the other hand, GMMTV has always like chickened out at the last minute when it comes to some of the gay stuff. And they've had some really problematic shit that they've done in the past that we absolutely don't accept. So it has been a while since we've done a review for GMMTV for their Boys Love. I think the last Boys Love we reviewed for GMMTV was Tale of a Thousand Stars, or was it when we did our Sodas review?
It was probably Sodas, but the last recent one we did is Tale of a Thousand Stars because we skipped Tonhon Chonleti because it was bad and super homophobic. And what else was, we didn't do the other one that Ohm was in where it was kind of a boys love, but really not.
Yeah, the shipper. We didn't do Fish Upon the Sky. Neither one of us are currently watching Baker Boys. I think that's ending. And that's based on Antique Bakery. I don't hear anybody talking about it, so who gives a fuck?
I didn't even know it started airing. We literally watched Antique because we were like, well, GMMTV is probably going to do this show, so we should watch the first one.
Yeah. The first episode was super terrible, and I was like, I'm not going to waste my time on this. But yeah, GMMTV, it has really been a love-hate. Like, I appreciate their stable of actors, and I actually am kind of mad at their stable of actors because they have a lot of really talented people they keep on payroll, but the script and directing department are just not up to the task of the actors they have in their roster. And so heading into this show, I was a bundle of nerves. I was super anxious. I was angry without even having seen the show. I was angry because I'm like, they're gonna fuck Ohm over again, and he's trapped in this fucking stable of actors, and if this show doesn't go well, then he's not gonna get any more leads, and he'll have been wasted, and they'll have ruined his career. So I mean, I came into this show with totally my hair's raised, my hackles up. I was ready to turn this entire review into a rant. And I'm so grateful that GMMTV didn't make me go there. I still have a couple of complaints here and there, but they didn't make me go there. And so you can rest assured this is going to be a positive review. But yeah, I was totally ready for this to be like me writing off GMMTV forever.
Yeah. And I didn't watch it until now because I was waiting to see how Sam liked it.
Yeah. I mean, I was telling Mason before he watched it, I said, you know, they have a lot of chemistry. Be prepared. They are really good together. But I don't think I said it a lot because I didn't want to oversell it. Because at first I'm like, maybe I just feel this way because of my personal feelings for Ohm. But
no. It was, man, like episode 1, I was like, oh, the guy who plays Prawn, give him an Emmy. Like, can Ty Boyslove be nominated for Emmys? Like, what's the Thai equivalent of an Emmy? He needs that. Give him that.
Yes. Okay, so I guess we should get into the review. So let's start with a plot synopsis. Mason, you got it for us?
All right, real quick. The plot is almost like a Romeo and Juliet. It is about 2 houses divided. They live next door, they're neighbors, and they have like rivalry businesses too. So it's essentially how Prawn his life has been entwined with Bout, who is his neighbor. Prawn is an architecture student, Bout is an engineering student, and they both go to the same university, and they wind up living next to each other at school, or like across the hall, directly across the hall from each other at school. And it's a story about how they go from enemies to lovers, and to how do they tell their friends and how do they tell their parents that they have gone this route.
Yes. I love the fact that this show, in many ways, even though it was completely unrealistic, it was very realistic in terms of the way that people move in relationships. There's a lot of times we watch shows and people will have really stupid arguments and they just won't talk to each other and they allow these misunderstandings to linger. And I did not feel any of that in this show. I felt very much like the reason why people didn't talk to each other were good reasons. The reason why people didn't operate on certain feelings were good reasons. Like there was a really good buy-in to the conflict on this show. And I think that's what carried me through the 12 episodes.
For sure. It definitely felt like this show, it seems like GMMTV heard people's complaints and decided to make some fixes to how they tell stories, which I really appreciate.
I do too, especially because this show, if things go according to plan, which is my hope, this show may be the beginning of our GL revolution as well. And
I had no idea that it was going to go there, but the first time they met, I was like, this feels lesbicious. And I asked Sam, are they going to be lesbians together? And you didn't answer. And I was like, they're going to be lesbians together. And that happened. And I was so happy. I was so happy. Complaint for GMMTV though, we never had them kissing. We had a kiss on the cheek, and that's not good enough for me. I would love a smooch. I would love a little makeout. Anything. Boys are kissing, the girls should be kissing. Representation for all.
Yes, and I think that these 2 actresses, I think they could carry a show. So before we get too far ahead, because really their relationship kind of gears up towards the last 3 episodes, maybe last 4. Let's start in the beginning. We start the show with a all and out brawl, like fighting in the streets, scrapping. And I'm just like, is this real? Is this what the straights do? Because
why do boys like fist fighting so much? I don't understand.
I don't either, because they fight for the most random reasons. Just like, I don't like you because you're in a different school at the university we're at. Therefore, I'm going to meet you in the street and like kickbox you. It's so bizarre.
Because it started because like they're like, oh, this guy flipped us off. We have to kick his ass now. And then we posted it to Facebook, a video of him like flipping us off. Now we really got to kick his ass. And it's like, why? He flipped you off. It's not a big, just give him the finger back. It's fine.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb, but boys. So we get to this fight and we know pretty early on that Pat and Prawn are not like the others.
Yeah.
Because when they fight, it's just like, okay, pretend to hit me really hard. All right, I'm going to pretend to kick you, fall down. And, you know, I don't know about everybody else in the room, but one of my favorite tropes in fan fiction is enemies to lovers, enemies to friends to lovers. Immediately, I could smell it in the air. And I was like, yes, this right here. This is, feed me.
You know what it smelled? You know what it smelled like? It smelled like a Ming Ki fan fiction. When I was watching the show, I was like, is this Ming Ki?
It is. It's fucking cat and dog. It's fucking cat and dog. Pat is the dog. Pran is the cat. It is cat and dog.
Exactly.
So wonderful. So we find out that this fighting is unacceptable to everyone except for the people who are fighting. Like the school's like, we're tired of this bullshit. We're tired of y'all constantly fighting each other. We're tired of y'all tearing up shit. If y'all get caught fighting again, we're gonna expel everybody because this is fucking ridiculous. Y'all are fighting over nothing. So of course, these are a bunch of idiots and they can't stop themselves from fighting or doing what's good for them. So eventually they get into a fight at the bus stop and they demolish the bus stop. And I'm just like
wreck it.
How is this reasonable? How is this at all reasonable?
All because someone flipped you off.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. So this begins kind of the big behind the scenes machinations with Pat and Prawn. And we find out that, you know, they both want to stay in school. So they're trying to keep their friends in school so that they don't get expelled. And they end up working together to rebuild this bus stop. And as they're working together to rebuild this bus stop, we start to get let in on the history of these two. And it's really sweet, but also really sad. Like their history is really sad. And it's just like, as a parent, I was like, I don't feel good that this is where their story generates from.
Because their parents literally did them against each other for years.
From birth. There's like a flashback scene of their mothers pregnant and fighting about what their children are going to turn out as.
Yeah, they're praying amongst. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, like, why would you move next door to someone that you hate? Just saying.
I guess it's so you can throw your opulence in their face. Like every time you buy a new car, you just drive past them and honk and let them see you roll by.
Is he peeking? I know he's peeking.
Yeah. Every time you get new furniture, you're like, uncover it in the parking lot so they can see it coming into the house. Every time you go out to dinner, you make sure you park on the street so you can walk past in your evening gown. Like, I just feel like it just must be like them showing off their wealth to each other constantly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like from the very beginning, they were fighting. And at one point during this fighting, when they were little kids, they were buying into it too. But then Pat's sister, Pa, she almost drowns. Like they're playing in the woods somewhere and somehow or another, she ends up falling into the water and Pat can't swim. And so Prawn is riding past on his bicycle. He sees her drowning and he rescues her. And after that, things change between them. And suddenly they're friendly because again, it's hard to hate somebody who saves your sister's life. And also this anger between them wasn't really theirs. It belonged to their family. Right. So starting from when they're, I would say maybe about 10 years old, they start to develop a friendship. And things are going okay for the most part. Like their parents haven't caught on to this friendship until they reach high school. And that's when everything fucking falls apart.
Yeah, 10th grade.
How did you feel about the mom's reaction to them playing music together and then be like, you got to get the fuck out of here?
I honestly was very confused because I was like, there has to be more to this, right? Like they had to be like, oh, maybe I was like, oh, they were dating in high school and like the mom showed up and like she saw them playing together, but she also saw them kissing earlier. So like, we're going to get that flashback. No, she was just mad that they were playing in a band together and sent him to a different school because of that, which I don't even know. I think that's, I guess my only complaint is like, that is so ridiculously stupid. Like, even if you have a grudge against him, like, damn, you're gonna send him away?
Yeah, like you're ripping him away from his friends. You're ripping him away from his classes, the teachers he knows, the environment he's been in, all because he didn't get in the fight with the neighbor kid, all because they had to work together on something. Like, it's so wild, but like the grudge between the families is so wild that it's like, it feels in character, but also it feels very excessive.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, having been basically ripped away from his school and forced to go to school somewhere else and like not live at his house while he's going to school somewhere else, of course, Prawn's kind of scared to be friends with Pat because he's like, yeah, we were friends in high school. And yeah, I do like you, but I know my parents are dead set on me and you never having any kind of connection. And I've seen how far they'll go to keep us from being connected. So trying to entertain your flirtations, I can't do that because I know it's going to end badly if my family finds out.
Right. I thought it was interesting that the first few episodes, it felt like it was through, we were following Prawn more and her feelings, but I don't know, like, I guess episode 5 hit and it was the time, it was like episode 5 was kind of the episode, I think it was episode 5, where Pot starts to really like Prawn. And I remember being surprised by that because I thought Pot was laying it on thick with Prawn for episodes. I mean, he was like flirting to the max. And to find out that he just wasn't flirting, that was just his personality. I was like, oh, interesting.
Yes, because in the vein of Minky fanfics, Pat is a puppy. And so he's just always kind of like, I like everybody and I like everything a lot. And so I'm just constantly putting affection on you. And they're like, oh, that's because I want to suck your dick. I didn't realize that until just now.
Right?
Yeah. But yeah, he has just mad flirtatious energy that is just oozing out of his pores. Also, like for the first, I want to say 4 to 5 episodes, I don't think they allowed Ohm to have any sleeves. I feel like everything that he wore was either sleeveless or open chested. Like they just didn't let him have full clothes the entire show.
He was like, I spent the summer pumping iron. What do you expect? Like
for real. Like there were so many shirtless scenes of Ohm in this show. And it was to the point where I'm like, can y'all put some clothes on this man? I know it's cold on set. Y'all can you do something?
Listen, he worked hard at the gym. He's like, I'm gonna show it off. You can't stop me.
Yes, and when I give you the Instagrams of the day, enjoy yourself on Ohm's Instagram because he likes to be shirtless on Instagram as well.
Yeah, I'm like, he asked for this.
Yes, he told them, listen, I haven't worked this hard just to be wearing clothes. Speaking of clothes though, Ohm's wardrobe early in the show, what the fuck was going on with his t-shirts? He had the wildest fucking t-shirts in the world. He had one t-shirt that said, I'd rather go hunting with somebody than go.
It was something. It was hunting with oh, what's that? What was that vice? Dick Cheney.
Cheney. I'd rather go hunting with Dick Cheney than driving with Ted Kennedy. Yeah. And I'm like, where the fuck does somebody in Thailand get this shirt?
They had they also had what's that coffee place near you?
Dutch Brothers.
Oh, I'm thinking of Tim Hortons, I think. And get a Tim Hortons shirt.
Yeah, they do have a Tim Hortons shirt on. I'm like, again, a Canadian coffee chain? What the fuck?
Yeah.
It was so bizarre.
I cheered when it came on because I thought I confused it with Dutch Bros. And I was like, oh, Dutch Bros. I love Dutch Bros.
But yeah, it was just like, I guess maybe like Thailand has a goodwill and they get like a lot of rando cast-offs from the US maybe, but like it felt like somebody went to the Goodwill and said, let's get some shirts that we can cut the sleeves off of. It doesn't matter what's on them just as long as like it's in English or something. And that's what they did. And it was just the randomest, wildest assortment to the point that when they finally got to the shirt that GMMTV is selling, I thought that was like an extra Friends t-shirt from the Goodwill. Like I'm like, oh, I got a t-shirt from the show Friends. And then the more it kept showing up in the show, I'm like, oh, this is the shirt they're selling as merch.
Yeah. That shirt became a plot point.
Yeah. I was just like, but at first I'm just like, this is more of his ugly t-shirt collection from the Goodwill.
Well, it was Prawn's shirt, so it's Prawn's ugly t-shirt collection from the Goodwill.
Right. But yeah, it was just one of those things where I was like, who's doing the costuming here? Because this is wild. Also, like Prawn's wardrobe, I would never wear the clothes he was wearing, but I loved all of his clothes because he looked super comfortable. Everything he wore just looked like he could take a nap in it.
He looked like nerdy, comfortable, and with a little bit of fashion.
Yeah, it was nice. He definitely looks like a plant gay.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that they both had very distinct characters when it came to wardrobe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did a good job with that.
Yeah, did a good job. Even though I have problems with Ohm's makeup. Ohm has really bad skin. This is not me being mean to him. It's just a fact. He has a lot of hormonal breakout around like his mouth and his chin, and they were really caking on the makeup for him. And there were a lot of times where his skin looked super textured and discolored. And I just feel like whoever did his makeup could have done a better job with some of the color correction around his redness for his acne, and done a better job of not letting his skin look so dry. Because that's the other thing, when you have a lot of acne and you have a lot of texture, sometimes when the makeup is too dry, it makes the skin look crusty rather than covered. And there were a few times, especially like in the very last episode, where he looked like he was purple around his mouth from them not color correcting the redness of the acne well.
I guess I didn't notice that. At least in the last episode.
Yeah, well, I was staring really hard though, so that's probably why I noticed.
I should turn off my phone. I think, well, hopefully for season 2, or if they do, like, I'm hoping this show gets like the Together treatment and gets like a couple extra handful episodes, they'll do what they did with, Win and Bright and make them look like porcelain dolls.
I hope so. Let's hope that they really get it together. But so after Pat realizes that he likes Prawn, he goes on the rooftop and confesses to him. But before that happens, what causes Pat to realize he has feelings for Prawn is that he thinks that a cute girl has a crush on him. And they have this really weird couple of episodes where they're like leaving treats for each other and flirting with each other without knowing that it's each other flirting.
Right.
Yeah, and then they meet up on the rooftop and like, oh, it's you. And Pat's like, but I'm not mad at this development.
Yeah.
This actually works. I'm okay with this. Yeah, he starts to kind of evaluate, like, why do I feel so compelled to like be in this man's space? Why is it that I can't take my eyes off of him? Why am I going through all this bullshit to be around this person? And then he finally realizes that they like each other, and they meet up on the rooftop to discuss these feelings. And I thought it was really cool how, like, instead of Prawn being like, yes, the boy of my dreams likes me back, I'm so happy, he's kind of like, this is devastating. And he like cries.
I did not understand that. I was like, girl, the hot guy you like just made out with you. Like, why'd you leave?
I think it's just because he's scared. I think
Yeah.
it's definitely a trauma response, because he had his mother yank him out of school just for playing in the same band.
Right.
And the idea of like, my friends hate you, my family hates you. I don't know anybody in my life who would support us having a relationship. How do you have a relationship with somebody that you can't have a relationship with?
Right. I did like how this show took like the homophobia aspect out of it. Like, it was never a question of like, will their parents accept them for dating a man? It was literally just like, oh, we just fucking hate that guy,
Yeah. I mean, even at one point, his parents said, it's a new day. It was Prawn's parents. They were having dinner. His parents like, it's a new day. People can like who they like. If you want to bring home a guy, a girl, non-binary, that's fine. I don't care. As long as it's not those motherfuckers next door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it was nice that it wasn't based on homophobia. It was really based on like generational distrust. But it was also like really sad too, because golly, that is such a hard thing to try to choose between your family or the person you love, especially for Prawn, because from what it looks like, Prawn is an only child.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you are your parents' only child. All of their parental focus is on you. You are it. And so, separating yourself from your family for a guy when you don't know how your relationship might turn out, that's a huge sacrifice. And it's not a sacrifice that a lot of people would be prepared to make.
Right.
Because there's just way too much uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I felt like they really gave us a real conflict here. It wasn't something that felt, engineered to move the plot along. It really felt like it was the crux of the matter.
Oh, for sure. And I liked how it wasn't, what was I gonna say? I enjoyed the fact that you could have drama without it being a will they, won't they? Because once they get together, they're together the rest of the show. And I like that. I like that it's not, oh, they broke up because a woman stepped in. Like, I was pissed when Ink showed up because I was like, GMMTV, I know you too well. I know that you're gonna pull some bullshit with Ink. And then they didn't. And it was nothing like that. It was just like, oh, it was truly the family drama was the drama of the show.
Yeah.
That was great.
I thought that was wonderful. And then, like, also, I thought it was really good that family drama inserted itself into other little things along the way. Like, hey, you're being a little bit too wild on the Instagram. Like, it affected everything. It didn't just stay in one place. And I thought that was really smart as well.
Yeah. I like that Hot's friends were like, oh, you're dating that kid? Yeah, we don't care anymore. It's fine. It's whatever. Like, they're cool in our book. And I'm like, I'm glad you guys got over that quick.
Yeah, let's talk about Y's bitch ass. I hate Y. I don't like the actor who plays him. He has a punchable face. He probably is a really nice guy in person. I heard he's a doctor. Good for him. Glad you love your grandmother. However, I hate you. I just want you to know I hate you. And I feel like you were never really properly redeemed. I don't care what anybody says. It is probably the one thing in this entire show that I absolutely fucking disagree with and has never been quite resolved for me. And I need there to be like 5 more episodes where he fucking grovels on the ground and begs for forgiveness. So the reason why Pat and Farm's friends found out that they were dating is because somebody's fucking mic was hot and it got overheard in the sound booth that they were talking about, hey, we're boyfriends, but keep that shit on the low. Don't be on Instagram with all this stuff. And why, who had, I guess, seen them sneak into a car together, decided to like play the audio over the auditorium, drop the curtain so that everybody would find out they were dating. And I have so many problems with that. Number one, because you outed them. That's not cool. But two, like, what they fucking do to you for them to deserve that? Like,
right?
Your feelings are hurt because your friend didn't tell you he was dating your enemy. Get the fuck out of here. That's why he didn't tell you, because this is how you fucking react.
Yeah. I don't understand. I just didn't like why. I remember being shocked to find out that he was straight. I for sure thought that he was in love with Prawn. I thought that's where this was going to go. And he was just like, no, I'm just kind of a little bitch. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. His straight still fucking it up again. But yeah, I hated his character. I hated everything about him. I hated the fact that there was a scene or a series of scenes in the show where he just shows his bitchness and no one checks him on it. No one checks him on it at all. He bears no consequences. They're playing a game of rugby and he's just like, well, I'm not going to help you if anybody's trying to press you. It's like, but he's on your team.
Right?
It's not about helping him. It's about helping your team win. But you're so caught up in your fucking feelings that you won't even act right.
He also had Prawn's other friends ostracized from him because of what happened. And it's like, why are you on Y's side? He's in the wrong here. He did the wrong thing.
It's so crazy. So finally, it all comes to a head when they have this rugby match and this really hot guy from the other rugby team.
Steaming. Oh my God. Who was he? I know he shoots pot, but like still past the number.
I didn't see his information on my drama list. Otherwise, I would have gotten his Instagram of the day. But yeah, I don't know who the fuck that guy is, but he was gorgeous. And I mean, like from the very first second he was on screen, I'm like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah. I was like, I hope he sticks around. And then he did.
Yes. But he's like all pissed off that he lost the game, which, you know, I get it. You're mad you lost the game. But he and Y exchange words. And then they go to the restaurant that Y works in, and he's like, you know, being mad aggressive and everything. He confronts Y outside behind the bar and is like, hey, you were talking mad shit before. Here's my gun. Do you want to talk shit now? And Y is like, hey man, relax. It's not even like that. No worries. Well, he goes back in the bar, and instead of telling like the bar owner, like, hey, that guy over there's got a gun, let's call the police. He's like, okay, I'll just keep it on the low. If he's gonna pour beer on me on the ground, whatever, I'm just gonna take it because I know he has a gun. Well, Pat, who's like, this guy's being an asshole towards my teammate, because Pat's actually a lot more mature than we give him credit for. He goes to confront this guy. And fucking Y, instead of giving our girlfriend the good heads up and be like, hey, homeboy has a gun, he's just like, hey, don't worry about it. Just leave him alone. No need to get in a fight. Pat would have had a very different reaction if you'd said, hey, listen, that dude's got a gun. Be very careful around him.
Right. He could have just whispered it when they were standing there. Like, who's got a gun? Back the fuck off.
Yeah. You know, do somebody a favor. I know you don't like him, but do you want him to be killed? And so they end up getting in a street fight outside because, again, these boys can't stop fighting. And Kitty in the booty pants pulls out his gun and shoots Pat. And I'm just like, what?
And leaves the gun.
Yeah, leaves the gun. And then the police show up at Pat's hospital room. We're like, yeah, I see you got shot, so we're going to charge you with gun possession.
I don't know how the ACAB is everywhere, apparently. Like
seriously, this is the second show that we've had where the police in Thailand have been tripping, because we had like with Manner of Death, the police were wild.
Oh, crazy.
But yeah, like he's in the hospital with a bullet graze wound, and they're like, yeah, we found a gun where you were laying on the ground bleeding, and we feel like that's your gun, so we're gonna arrest you for gun possession. And he's like,
yes, I shot myself in the abdomen. Thanks. And then it's like resolved like this. And then Y is like, no, I have the CCTV footage for that. And then they're like, oh, okay, bye. And that's like, I'm glad that this lasted like not even an episode.
Yeah, well, I'm just surprised that like it would take that too. Like I understood that Y needed a redemption arc. This was not enough. I still say it's not enough. No. But also, like, wouldn't the other people that were at the fight testify and be like, we saw what went down. It did not go down like this. We know our friend, he's never possessed a gun. Check it for fingerprints. I'm sure there's more than one set of fingerprints on there. There's probably fingerprints on the bullet casing because he didn't load the bullets. And if he did load the bullets, his fingerprints would be on the bullets. They're not. Like, there's just so much other forensic shit that would go down. But yeah, I'm just like, this isn't enough. Just because you kept him from going to jail for something that he rightfully shouldn't go to jail for, it's not enough, because you could have stopped him from getting shot, full stop, if you just gone ahead and told the bar owner there's a guy in the bar with a gun.
Yeah. He should have told the bar owner, the guy in the gun with the bar is harassing me. Can you send him away?
Yeah, or, you know, call the police and have him escorted out because he does have a gun. So I could see why you would want to like tell him like, you got to get the fuck out. You might want to send the police in first. But yeah, like, why would you just say, hey, we need to call the police. There's a guy in here with a gun. He already confronted me out back, so he might be willing to shoot. I feel like we need to get him out of here. Like, that's the reasonable response. Yeah.
I was surprised. I'm like, this is like the American response to do nothing. Don't y'all have better laws?
It definitely is a response that's not typical for other countries. It would be typical for America, but not for other countries. So all that goes down, and when Pat is in the hospital and Prawn is visiting him, he's leaving the hospital room, and that's when he runs into Pat's father. And that's another thing that I feel like if they do a continuation, like a little 5-episode arc, I really want to see Pat's father give Prawn's mother the apology that she deserves.
Yes. That
Because,
was
go ahead.
Juicy drama. I was eating it up. I lived for that scene where she storms into their, first of all, just like the whole, both parents yelling at their kids, and Pat's like, what did you do, Dad? And then the whole scene with Prawn and his mom, and then she slapped him. And it was the worst slap too, by the way. It was like and I'm like, no, if you're gonna slap someone, you slap them. That was my own.
I feel like they forgot to add Foley sound. I think that's what happened.
Right.
Like they didn't want to like actually connect in the acting, but somebody was supposed to go back in post-production and add Foley sound, and they didn't add anything. So like the slap had no sound.
It was like it's like she gave up halfway.
Yeah, and like if it's a slap, let it at least sound like a slap, even if it doesn't look like a slap. But yeah, she comes over and she basically says like, the reason why I hate your guts is because when we were in high school, I would have had a full ride scholarship to university, and you told the guidance counselor that I wasn't going to go to secondary school, and you stole my scholarship. And you stole my scholarship even though you didn't have any plans to do anything other than run your dad's business. This could have been my whole future. I could have done something completely different with my life.
It was her ticket out of there, and he stole
Yeah.
it. Man, I'd be pissed too.
Oh yeah, forever. I'd be like, there's nothing, you ruined my life. I mean, granted, she did end up marrying a guy who was able to buy a huge house, and obviously they do well enough because they're neighbors. But I think it's more the fact that like when you're young like that, and you know, I don't know if you've experienced this recently, but like the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of okay with where I'm at. But when I was younger, I had like big dreams. I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to live here, I want to do that, have that kind of lifestyle. When you're young like that and somebody does something that you feel basically ruins your chance for your dreams to come true, that's a hard pill to swallow, and it's a hard loss to get over, because you live in the consequences of that action for the rest of your life.
Yeah. He owes her a big apology. I still don't think it's worth like making your sons not date, but she owes her a big apology.
Yeah, I can only assume that maybe the reason why she's like, I don't want you involved with a neighbor is because she's like, if he is willing to do this to me, he's going to teach his son how to be a terrible person, and he's going to steal an opportunity from you. And I don't want you to be around them because I don't want them to have the opportunity to take something from you. Because honestly, the only reason why Pat's father could take her scholarship is because they were friends.
Right.
And so when he told the school counselor she doesn't want to go to school, he's like, oh, well, y'all are best friends, so you know her very well. So obviously you must be telling the truth, even though really that counselor had a duty to talk to her. But yeah, she's like, by being friends with you, I was vulnerable to you to take advantage of me. And that's why I don't want my son to even have anything to do with your family.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I moved in next to you.
Yeah, so that he could see your bullshit up front. Yeah, like it was a lot. But yeah, I thought that was great, and I thought that that was really real, because if it had been about like, oh, you stole my employee, oh, our businesses are rivals, that's kind of weak sauce. But this is something where I really could see like, it hurt my heart that you did this to me because we used to be friends. I could see that being a long held grudge.
Mm-hmm. I think that is a complaint I have with the series is it fluffed out towards the end, and I don't know, like I always say that I love a fluffy ending, but I think this is one where I'm like, no, this was some juicy drama. I would like to see how it gets solved, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, they just kind of ran away from the problem is kind of the conclusion that we got. And I don't know if I love that. I don't know if I love that. I don't know if I love that we found out that they've like just been lying to their parents for years still. I don't know how I feel.
Yeah, so they run away from their family after the big confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
And they spend some time at the zero waste facility, and while they're there they decide, you know, we're always going to have these problems with our family. Like nothing we can say can change our family's mind. So let's just resolve that we're going to fuck around and our family's just going to not know that we fuck around. And that's where they are years later. They're still fucking around.
I screamed when I saw the 4 years later pop up on episode 12. Oh, before we get to episode 12, episode 11 was like the happiest episode 11 I've ever seen of a boy. I was like, oh no, something bad's gonna happen. And nothing bad happened. It was very cute. They went on vacation.
There were so many people on Twitter when episode 11 happened that they saw the preview for episode 12 and they were like, oh no, oh no. And it's like, maybe oh no, but not really, because like.
No. I was worried. Like, I didn't realize how much I cared for this couple until episode 12 when my heart fell out of my ass the first 2 parts, because I was like, I don't like what's happening here, guys. Why are they not living together? Why aren't they talking to each other? I don't know. And then in part 3, they like explain it all. And I'm like, okay, we can deal with this.
Yeah. And we start to see that like the family is not fooled. They know that these two are fucking around. Not only that, but like because they know that like their children are going to fuck around regardless of their opinions of each other, they start to have small concessions towards one another. Like there's them driving into the street and the dad backing up to let the mom through, or getting the mail for the neighbor and putting it in their mailbox instead of just throwing it away. Like little things to be like, okay, I need to make moves to resolve this. Right. But I think what I like the most is that when we first started the show, it seemed like the partners of the mom and the dad were buying into this rivalry. But as we could see at the end, like they both at least have one parent that supports them. And I feel like that was a really good thing to see, because if nothing else, if a time came where they just couldn't hide it anymore or something really important happened and they needed to be there for each other, they at least have one parent who would be willing to advocate on their behalf.
Right. That was nice to see.
Yeah.
And I like that the mom gave him back his guitar at the end. I don't know why she was so fucking mad at that guitar.
I don't know. Like,
she really took it out on that guitar. Like, is this Footloose? What's happening here?
So funny.
But speaking of Prawn's mom, can we just talk about how gorgeous she is? Because every time she was on screen, I just was in awe. I was like, who made you? Is God real? Because you are sculpted, bitch.
She was a very beautiful woman, but I was preoccupied because I want to fuck the shit out of Pat's dad. I know that old man is not everybody's type, but I am also an old person, so I can appreciate. I wanted to reverse cowgirl him every time he came on screen. I just really want to give it to him. And
you fucked her over.
Even then, I'm just like, oh baby, did she confront you about something you're uncomfortable with? Let me give you a conciliatory blowjob.
Your glasses this time.
I wanted him. And I don't know why. I can't figure it out. Like he's so plain looking, it's obscene. He's like really like nondescript. And I was still like, I'll fuck the shit out of you.
Let me tell you guys a story. So a couple weeks ago, I retweeted a video of Actually, I think is the like game. It's like a YouTube show of the host of Actually. And I was like, I would like for this man to have recreational sex with me. And Sam responds with, I love how you don't care about appearances, just vibes. Love that for you. And here we are. And Sam wants to reverse cowgirl this plain looking raggedy type. I'm like,
I'm sorry. I've offered to fuck people's dads in the past before. So this is not new activity on my part. I'm always down to put somebody's uncle in a chokehold between these legs. But I'm just saying, there's something about Pat's dad. I think it's his eyes, maybe.
He had nice, kind eyes for a man who did a very bad thing.
Yeah, like he gives the vibe like I have to act like an asshole, but like in real life, I'm chill as fuck. I'm a really great dude.
Yeah, I hope so. I'd have a drink with him.
Yeah, so like
my dream blunt rotation. I'm just kidding.
Yay! Also, the helper for Prawn's family, I fucked him too. He was in a GMMTV show called Friend Zone, and he was in Friend Zone 2, where he played the brother of one of the lead actor couples. So there's like 4 couples in Friend Zone, and one of them is like this girl who's been dating this rapper for years, and they have this really rocky relationship. And the actor has a brother who runs the family business, and the helper was that brother. And there's something very, how do I phrase it? There's something very milky about him that is very attractive to me. Like, he looks like he smells good and has really soft hands.
Really? I thought he looked kind of dumpy.
Oh no, I wanted to bathe him and like curl up in the bed with him on Sunday mornings and listen to podcasts.
Okay. Well, I love that for you.
Yeah, I don't want to. I want to fuck the shit out of Pat's dad. Like Pat's dad, I want to get nasty. I want to lick assholes. But with this guy, I just really want to go to the farmer's market with him.
Sounds like a good weekend.
I just want to be back hugged and have somebody kiss the back of my neck. The little things. But yeah, Pat's dad, I want to ride his face. I don't know why.
I don't
Very
know.
different vibes.
So why? I remember you telling me that like everyone thinks he's like the hottest person ever in Boys Love right now. And I disagree with the masses on that. But I do think he looks like he looks like the little brother of, remember in Why Are You? Do Blue and how Blue was into like that other dude on the soccer team?
Yeah.
It's like that guy's little brother.
I could see it. I don't know. I just think that the actor who plays Y has a really funky face, a very punchable face. Like he should play villains for the rest of his acting career because he's got the face for it.
So sad.
I'm sorry. Like, do you buy him as a romantic, likable lead? Does his face read like a main romantic interest?
The last episode, I was thinking, yeah, I could see him as a lead because I thought like, yeah, I don't know. I thought him and Drake had like good chemistry. I thought they were going to get together.
Boo! First of all, I don't ever believe Drake in a BL role. We watched him in Together try to romance Frank, and I was like, no, I don't buy it. It's not real. I saw him in Cause You're My Boy. Don't buy it. It's not real. No, not at all.
I didn't say I like him. I just say like I thought that they had good chemistry.
But I will say this, in a mad world that doesn't exist, in an alternate universe where people's facial features were interchangeable, I would love to Mr. Potato Head, Y, and Corn and just like take little features from each of their bodies and like place them on each other, because neither one of them work for me. Like in terms of appearance, Drake looks weird to me. Y looks weird to me, but I feel like maybe if they swapped noses or something, they would both be enriched by that experience.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, also, Drake has got the hairiest wrists I've ever seen. And I'm a person who struggles with body hair, but every time he came on screen, it looked like he had on like little sweater bands on his wrists.
I didn't even notice. I have to go back and look now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just his wrists too. Like his arms are hairy, but his wrists are like Robin Williams levels of hair.
Okay.
It's bizarre.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. But anyway, let us talk about something that all the BL fans care about tremendously: the kisses and the intimacy.
You did good, GMMTV. They kissed like real people.
Okay, so this is going to be weird. When we first started this, I was like, they have the most chemistry in the world. But for some reason, their chemistry is really straight to me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because they're both kind of masculine, but like they both have like real straight boy energy. And so when they were kissing, it felt like it was very illicit. Like, ooh, y'all are doing something bad. And I don't know why I
Hmm.
had that feeling. Because other times when I've watched people kiss, I'm like, oh, that's hot. This is whatever. Then when I was watching them kiss, I'm like, what?
I do not share your feelings. I bought them as a gay couple. I thought that they had good chemistry, both physical and verbal. So yeah, I thought the kissing was fine. I was just like, oh, they went for a real kiss, and it wasn't like some wooden piss ass kiss like in that Blue show. Deep,
Yeah.
Deep Under the Sky. What's it called?
Dark
The
blue kiss?
Dark Blue Kiss.
Okay. Yeah. Oh gosh. Fucking knew. Tay knew.
Just
Knew is the worst kisser.
uh,
New is the worst kisser at GMMTV. The only person who beats him is Chris when asked to kiss any boy. And actually, no, not even that, because him and Singto had a decent kiss at the airport. New is the worst kisser at GMMTV. Fight me.
I don't know. The Together Boys really didn't have it there. And they had the whole kiss me till I drop thing. And I was like, I would pull away from this.
They had a halfway decent kiss in Still Together, but yeah, there were some problems in Together. Like the high five, we'll never get over that. GMMTV, I
Never.
we'd never get over that. But like, yeah, okay, I was gonna wait until later, but let me talk about it now. Nanan, I didn't know you before this, and I feel bad because Aggie was telling me how much she likes you as an actor. She was telling me how much she loved Gifted. You have been really popular. You had millions of subscribers on Instagram even before this show. Nanan, I didn't know, and I just, I I just want to be a part of your world. I feel like I didn't know actors until I met you, and now I don't want anybody else. I don't want to watch Ohm with anyone else. I don't want him to do any more BL. I just want him to be with you. I I love your energy. I love how you were like soft, but not like wimpy. I love how you were like, you were such a person. I feel like you knew your backstory for 20 years, that you had lived that life. And this was just you being you. I love the way that you like crumbled around when you needed to, and then like gave him your sassy ass when you needed to. I didn't know that Ohm had never met his match until now. I've watched Ohm in so many things. I have talked about how good he is as a co-star to so many people. But until now, I had no idea what we were missing. And now that I've seen it, where did you come from? Where did they raise you? What are your life experiences? What do you want for your future? I just, I adore you. And I don't adore you in like a have sex with you way. I adore you in like, if anything happens to your family and you need someone to adopt you so that you can spend holidays with them, my arms are open. You now belong to me. You're my child. And I just adore you. I adore you. I adore you. I could not take my eyes off of you. You're an amazing actor. I totally believed you. I bet you smell good. I love you. Okay.
Glad you got that out. But I'm with you. I had no expectations for this man when it started. And I don't know. I just like, I generally think that he is the best actor I've ever seen at GMMTV, point blank period. Like this one role, I trust him in any acting role. I think he is the best actor GMMTV has ever had. Honestly, GMMTV, you're fucking lucky you have access to this man, because he could be anywhere. He could be anywhere. He learns a couple other languages, he will be boom out of there, you know? Like he's got it. He really has it. So I now need a boys love with him and the boys from I Promised You the Moon, because those three, the leads in I Told Sunset About You and him, are the best Thai BL actors, period.
I mean, we love Gunn. Let's not act like Gunn isn't great.
I like Gunn, but he's not giving me what Nanon was giving me.
Yeah, Nanon was giving.
Gunn. I like me some Fluke. Like there's some other like heavy hitters, but those three, yeah, that's the S tier of Thai BL actors.
Yeah, Singto's like on the side talking about, don't forget about Nanon. I don't know if I want to see you with Singto, but I might need to, maybe.
Nanon, I'll see you in anything, anytime, anywhere. I'll watch it.
Oh man, I did not know. I'm so sorry I didn't watch Gifted because I did not know. I am smitten. I love this kid and I love his dimples. Oh my gosh, his dimples were like a third character. I just love his face. I love how like his little smirks and like secret smiles all throughout this.
Yeah.
His vulnerability and like just his realistic contemplative, his eyes. He acts so well with his eyes.
It never felt overacted, and you could always tell that, it always felt like his character was present in the world and like thinking. Like some actors, like a lot of the Love Mechanic actors, it felt like they are reading lines, and when they're not reading a line, it's they're dead in the eyes. He was like electric at all times. It was wonderful.
Yeah, like they didn't have a script. He's just vibing. And I loved how Ohm with him made Ohm encompass something different as well. Like I've always said that Ohm does a really good job of seeming completely interested in his partners. Everything we've ever watched Ohm in, he always felt like I'm fully invested in this. This is a real relationship to me. Probably my favorite thing that he's done is Do the Movie, which we reviewed together. He was so good in that and so realistic. But it was so nice to see him in a show where it felt like he wasn't carrying the ship. He really was kind of like, this is about you. My job here is to worship you. My job here is to love on you. My job here is to make you seem like the most desirable person on earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice for Ohm not to have to do the heavy lifting the whole time. And in a lot of ways, I would love to have an interview with Ohm and just ask him, like, what did you learn about acting from this experience? Because I don't know if you necessarily learned a lot about acting from your other experiences, but with this show, being paired with somebody who's obviously just innately talented, what did you learn about yourself and what you want to bring to future roles? Because kind of the start of the show, it felt like Ohm was giving more, but towards the end, it absolutely felt like this was not in show, that Ohm was a side character.
Yeah, it was the Nanon show. Oh, he was so good. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is the shortest we've like gone through a series in a while. We just liked it.
Yeah, we just liked it. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. It was just likable. I even liked when they ran away from home and went to the zero waste facility and they just like vibed out. They like went fishing and served beers at the bar and fucked around. I'm like,
yeah,
I could watch this for like 5 more episodes.
Yeah, because they did a really good job of making them like very compatible. Like seriously, like I loved that they got together for the project because he's an architect, one's an engineer. So they got together to pitch the, eco-friendly bus station. I liked that. I like that they have things that they can talk about that's not just the plot around them.
Yeah, they both like music. They both like food. They both know each other. There's that scene when they're on vacation where it looks like Pat is throwing his SIM card into the ocean. Mm-hmm. So then Prawn's like, oh, I guess I have to do it too. And then Pat's like, are you dumb? I would never do that. He's like, of course I knew you wouldn't do that. Like just those things are so cool about them. But then also they're completely different people. Like they had that one montage in the first episode where like Pat literally goes to school without bathing. Like he gets up in the morning and douses himself in Axe body spray and walks out the door. Meanwhile, Prawn gets up and is like, takes a shower, skincare routine, a healthy breakfast. Let me get my pencils in order. Like he's like fastidious. And I'm like, I love this dynamic. Before y'all even see each other, I love this dynamic.
And they did a really nice job of having Pot's character grow up, because in the last episode, it starts with, instead of him banging on his alarm 5 times, he hears it once, goes, okay, cool, I have to get up and go to work. And does he matured. He grew up a little bit. It was nice.
Yeah, I thought it was wonderful. I also love the fact that like they never lost their playfulness. Even like the very last scenes with them where they're, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I think they're just like drinking.
Yeah. On the patio.
Yeah, they're still like fucking playful, but they know when to give in. Like they don't take it too far. And sometimes it feels like you play too much, but for them, they know each other enough to know when they need to stop. And that's incredibly sexy. That's really sexy to have somebody that you can play off of, but you don't have to tell them, okay, you're about to hit my border. They know. And having somebody know you is probably one of the sexiest things about being in a relationship. Personal information here, but not nasty personal information. I remember my daughter's father, when we were dating, before she was ever born, anything like that, we had broken up because we'd gotten an argument about R. Kelly, which I was right, he was wrong, get used to it. We had, okay, this, just so you get an idea of how long ago, this was like 19 years ago. That's how long ago this argument was. I said, R. Kelly is a pedophile and no one should listen to his music. Knowing what we know now, I was right, obviously.
I mean, knowing what you know then, he pissed in a little girl's mouth. You saw the tapes.
Yeah, which, I mean, I hate that I saw those tapes because it means I've seen child pornography and I never wanted that for my life, but here we are. But yeah, we had that argument and we broke up that night. The very next day, he showed up to the dorm I was staying in, because this is while we were in college. He showed up to the dorm I was staying in. He brought my favorite omelet from IHOP. He went to another restaurant and got my favorite sweet tea. And then he went to Walmart and bought me flowers. And he set up a breakfast table in the lobby of the dorm I was staying in, asked me to come downstairs, and he had my omelet laid out, my sweet tea laid out, and flowers on the table, and was like, I'm so sorry, I was wrong, and I hope that we can get over this argument. And it was so like, I'm gonna fuck the shit out of this man, that kind of a moment, because because number one, he knew that like food was one of my love languages, but two, he took the effort of getting me my favorites from multiple places. He could have just gone up and said, could you give me a sweet tea while I'm here? But he went multiple places. And then he also said, sorry. He didn't say, I want us to forget that we had that argument. He's like, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Here you go. Can we?
Really sweet.
Yeah. And so like, there's just something about somebody knowing you that is such a fucking turn on, because you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to like bend yourself into pieces. You don't have to question whether or not your opinions are going to be welcome. You feel like they listen to you, they understand you, they want you, and that they're invested. And that is something that I feel very much from this couple, is that they really are made for the long haul.
Yeah.
But they're terrible liars. Their families know they're fucking around, and they really need to work on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the houses are nice, but still echoey. You're playing guitar up there. Of course people can hear.
Yeah, it's like you're in these big McMansions that have like thin ass walls. And you're just like, let's play guitar together and sing. They won't hear two voices at the same time.
They don't hear you thumping in through the window, falling in every day.
Yeah, it's just like, y'all are so dumb. Get away from me. But yeah, I love this show. I would love to see more of this kind of thing. It's just, it was adorable. And you're still hitting it out the park. You haven't done anything I've hated. Even though The Shipper was not a great show, you were good in The Shipper, and you've been good, and I'm glad for it. Nanon, you are my new fave. I love you. And the director, P.O., fantastic job. You did a really good job. I don't know who was responsible for casting, but y'all made this shit happen. Y'all really made this shit happen, and I'm very pleased. I'm very, very pleased.
Yeah, everything that I expected from a GMMTV show, they didn't give me, and that's why I liked it.
They even talked about the whole are you bisexual, are you straight but just like one man thing.
Yes. And they did a good job of being like, I think they might just be some bi kings. And I was like, oh, good. I love that.
I like it too. I thought it was really good because like the girl, Pa, who is Pot's sister, was like, oh, I thought you'd be one of those straight guys who only likes this one guy. He's like, no. I mean, now he's the only guy I like, but like before, yeah, I just like people. I'm down to fuck.
Yeah, it was good. I really liked it. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna give it 8.5.
Yeah, I've got an 8 in my pocket for him. Like the things that we complained about again with just why shouldn't have been forgiven as quickly as he was. He didn't do enough for forgiveness. The fact that we really want to see some better resolution to the family situation, and then also we wanted a little bit more lesbian activity from the lesbians. So those are really the only things that take away points, style points. Also, like I wouldn't have minded having a few more opportunities to watch Nanon and Ohm tackle each other in the bed. That very last scene of them running through the house fucking clawing on each other. Oh,
it was good. It's a good way to end.
When Ohm rips his shirt off and like swings it over his head before he jumps on Nanon, I'm like, what the fuck antics do y'all get up to in bed?
Apparently not a lot, because the one, remember earlier, they were like, yeah, you finished in 5 minutes. You didn't give me lots of work with.
Yeah, and he's like, well, you've been gone for 2 years. I was excited. Let's do it again.
Oh my God. I also love that, like, the like little updates in each other's lives. Like, I love that Prawn now gets 4 wontons in his soup because he knows that Pot's gonna take one. Like, just like the fucking little things added up really nicely.
It is like they just really know each other. They actually go together. Like this is one of those boys love couples that you really believe they actually go together.
I was like, if they're not good friends in real life, I'd have to chalk it up to the acting, because they felt like they had been best friends for years, and this was like,
yeah, I really do think that they're friends. I feel like they're friends. I really, really do.
I'm hoping, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting because Boys Love's still relatively new. I feel like it'll be interesting, like how when second gen K-pop disbanded and we found out like, oh, them girls don't really like each other. Like this was truly just like, you found out which groups were the people that actually liked each other and the groups that were just, this was a job and we were at a job, you know?
I think it's a lot easier with them, not just because of like their chemistry on screen, but I also feel like in a lot of ways, they are equals off screen as well. Like, okay, Nanon's got more Instagram followers than Ohm, but they're not super far apart. Like Ohm's at 3 million, Nanon's at 3.5, you know? So I think that because they have a lot of that in common, both of them have won numerous acting awards for their performances. I really sincerely feel like they see each other as peers, and maybe they went into this knowing like, this is an opportunity for both of us to raise our profile. So let's give our very best because we're going to be eating off of this for the next 3 years.
And they will, because I will give them the money for it.
Oh, hell yeah. I went to E-Tie CD to see what the merch was for the show because I'm like, do I want to buy something? And I won't be buying anything because the merch is mad expensive, but there was a lot of merch. Examples of the merch, the bag with the tie shoulder, the pee bag, that's for sale. The stuffed animal thing, that's for sale. The door hanger with the smiley face, sad face, that's for sale. What else is for sale? They have keychains for sale. The friend t-shirt that was like a plot point of like, I want to be in your sin or whatever, that's for sale. The keychain, they have a keychain of the little doll, the little like raggedy looking weird ass doll. They want on E-Tie $28 for that keychain. Right? The fucking bag is like 60 something dollars.
It's a tote bag.
Right. So I'm just like,
what's it made out of?
Like BL tears? I don't know. But it's just the merch is so fucking expensive. And like the box set for the DVD is like 135, I think. Some crazy number like that. Like it's just, I'm sorry, it's too much. It's too much. GMMTV, you're such a good company sometimes, but your merch game is out of control. It really is out of control.
And that's before shipping, right?
Well, eTie does free shipping.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's the reason why.
I was like, oh man, $130 and then you gotta ship it to America.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very pleased with the show. So I guess since we're pleased with the show, let me give you some Instagrams of the day. I have a lot of Instagrams. You want to say something first?
Oh, well, yeah, while you're doing that, I'm gonna go grab my manga of the day because I literally showered and turned on the camera. So I'm gonna go grab that real quick.
Okay, not a problem. While Basin is gone, let me talk to you guys about something that you're not going to hear us talk about very often on the show. Not because we don't care about it, but just because it doesn't suit us. So recently we've started alternating our BL and music talk. So like we'll talk about music, then we'll talk about BL, then we'll talk about music, we'll talk about BL. But a lot of people who are fans of BL like to talk about the music from the BLs. And I'm just going to be really honest with you. Very rarely do these shows have music that I care about. Like I Told Sunset About You and I Promise You the Moon, people were wild over the soundtracks. That's not at all my style of music. If it's not kind of like either K-poppy sounding or R&B-ish or hip-hop slanted, I really don't give a fuck about the soundtrack. And I just wanted to mention that because a lot of people are like really over the moon about Nanon singing and the soundtrack that he provides for this show. I found the songs incredibly boring and I speed watched every single time somebody had to sing because it just doesn't do anything for me. It does nothing for me. And I'm the kind of person that if I dated you in real life and you said, sit down for a moment, I want to sing for you, I would shrivel up inside. I would literally turn into a husk of a human being because there's nothing I hate more than someone singing at me. I will go to your performance. My child actually is a good singer, but I don't want you singing at me because I find that mortifying. I just wanted to mention that we're never going to talk about soundtracks unless something super stands out, because for the most part, the music in these shows just is not our cup of tea.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so just gotta mention that. Okay, so Instagrams of the day. Let's start with Ohm. I've given you Ohm's Instagram before because we did He's Coming to Me and Do the Movie. So you've had his Instagram before, but it's Ohm Pawat. It's just OHMPAWAT. You'll know it's him because he has 3 million followers on the Instagram, so it's kind of hard to miss him. Then I'm going to give you the Instagram for Nanon because we haven't talked about him before. His Instagram is his first, well, it's his nickname and his first name. So it's Nanon_Korapat. So it's NANON_KORAPAT. Nanon Korapat. And he's got 3.6 million followers as of this morning. Mm-hmm. So again, you're not going to miss him if you're looking for him. But I've got a few more here. I've got the Instagram for Mark, who is one of the friends in the friend group. I don't know if I believe he is Nanon's friend. The reason I mention him is because he was actually the lead actor in a show called My Gear, Your Gown, which was a terrible fucking show. I think I talked about it very briefly during one of the asides during a review, but it was boring as shit. And he played like the lead dude in that show, and he was boring as shit. He was a terrible actor, but he's actually quite good looking. And so I thought maybe you guys would care about him. But his Instagram is Mark with a C, MARC_M_C. So Mark M_C. So he's got 592,000 followers on Instagram, should be easy to find. And then lastly, I want to give you one more guy, and then I'm going to give you our lesbians. So the other guy I'm going to give you is Mark Pankin. He is not somebody who's famous, at least as far as I can tell, but he has a very interesting look. And I feel like he's going to end up being in something in the future that's going to be important. I don't know. That's just a vibe I get. He has a very memorable face. But his Instagram is PKK. So it's M and then MARK and then PKK. But yeah, his name's Mark Packin, and he has 73,000 followers. Like I said, not a big name, but there's just something about his face that makes me feel like we're going to be seeing this kid a lot moving forward. Now, let's talk about the lesbians. So the Instagram for the actress who plays Ink is Panly.B. So it's PANLY Panly.B. And she's got 244,000 followers on Instagram. So again, you'll know it's her because she's got a lot of followers. And then the Instagram for Pa is Loverruck, and it's LOVERRUKK. She's got 2.7 million followers. I had no idea this girl was that popular, but I remember during the show thinking she has an adorable face. Like something about her face was just like, she looks like a fucking doll. Even though I kind of feel like Ink was the better looking one in my opinion, but Ink was like pretty in like a model looking way, whereas Pa very much looked like an actress. I don't know how to say those are different looks.
I know what you're saying. Ink is on the runway tomorrow.
Yeah.
The other girl's playing the girl next door for a movie, you know?
Yeah, so one of them is very like approachable looking, like she's attractive in an approachable way, whereas Ink is like, damn, that bitch is fine. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, there you go. But yeah, those are all the Instagrams of the day for you guys. And then also just side note, every time we talk about Nanon, I hear Rihanna in my head constantly, even though I don't know why, but I hear, oh, Nanon, what's my name?
Oh gosh.
I'm sorry. Every time you say his name, I just
someone's got to make that meme now.
Somebody needs a fan cam using oh Nanon, what's my name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Make it happen, internet. I believe in you.
All right. So I don't have a manga of the week. I have a novel of the week, and it is called Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune.
Are you fucking kidding me? Don't you go anywhere.
I'm going to assume that she either has this book or the book he wrote previously, which is called The House of... Yep, The House in the Cerulean Sea. That's his like famous gay book. It's on like TikTok. Like, yeah, I've heard really good things about it. But when I went to the store to buy it, they didn't have it, but they had his new one, which is also gay. So I was like, fine, I'll get this one. And
I bought this and I haven't read it yet because I had fucking COVID and I haven't read anything. I have like 2 books I need to read. But yeah, fuck out of here.
No, but like, okay, I think you'll like his writing. So this book is really good. It is about Wallace, who was like a big corporate exec. He didn't care about anybody. He hated everyone and everything. He dies and he's taken in by the Reaper, and the Reaper's like, yeah, dude, you're fucking dead. I don't know what to tell you.
Does this apply to Goblin?
No.
Okay.
No, so the Reaper basically takes him to a tea shop in the woods in this like secluded area. And it's like a tea shop for humans. So he's like a ghost, and it's basically him spending time in this tea shop and going through his life and thinking about, you know, why everyone hated him, because he gets so, you know, I don't know. It was just really good. It has moments of, there's times in this book where I cried laughing, like truly just like such witty writing. Even the first chapter, there were parts where like a few pages in, I just had to close the book because I was laughing too hard and I needed to stop. And there are times where the heartbreak and the loss and the conversations being had were just so sad that I was sobbing in sadness. So to me, that's like the hallmark of a great piece of media, something that the emotions hit so high all around that I'm crying for various reasons. And this book really had that. It's really, really good. The cast of characters is small and lovely. It's the perfect book for like a rainy day. It's raining outside. You kind of open the blinds like, oh, it's raining. ooh, you know, I'm gonna curl up with a blanket and a good book. This is that book. Like, this is the vibe. It's good. It's a happy book. It's very life affirming. It's just so much goodness comes from this book that I highly, highly recommend it. Sorry, it's like mirrored, so I'm having a hard time.
No, you're fine. I just love the fact that we're friends. I love the fact
Yeah, we hive-minded.
yeah, because like the reason why I got this is because like Mason said, TikTok. There was a lady on TikTok who was like, mentioned some books to read instead of Harry Potter. And this was one of the books. And so I'm just going to read the synopsis because I haven't read it yet. But the synopsis is Linus Baker is a by the book caseworker in the department of in charge of magical youth. Sounds familiar. At 40, he lives in a tiny house with a devious cat and his old records for company, but his quiet life is about to change. Linus is summoned by extremely upper management and given a curious and highly classified assignment: travel to an orphanage on a distant island and determine whether 6 dangerous magical children are so dangerous, in fact, they're likely to bring about the end of days. When Linus arrives at the strangest of islands, he is greeted by a series of mysterious figures, the greatest mystery of which is Arthur Parnassus, the master of the orphanage. As Linus and Arthur grow closer, Linus discovers the master would do anything to keep the children safe, even if it means the world has to burn, or worse, his secret comes to light. The House in the Cerulean Sea is an enchanting love story masterfully told about the profound experience of discovering an unlikely family in an unexpected place and realizing that family is yours.
This book has similar themes. It's a lot about found family. It's about making up for the mistakes in your life. And it has adult, older, like gay characters, you know, and I love that.
Yeah. 40. Hello. Not that I'm a gay man, but like I'm 40. I love reading romances about people who are older.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's one of the things that we constantly talk about on this blog is that representation matters. It matters to have stories about gay people, not just beautiful young teenage gay people, but like grown-ass gay people who don't have like extremes amount of money. You know, how many stories are we getting about gay people who are working class? We need stories about Asian American people, and not Asian American people who are doctors, but Asian American people who are, you know, boxers, Asian American people who are working in their dad's tire shop. Shout out to you, Jay Park. But yeah,
Is he working at his dad's tire shop right now?
yes, no, when he got let go from 2 p.m. or when he left 2 p.m., he went and worked at his dad's tire shop and then like started uploading YouTube videos, and he got popular in Korea again for doing a cover of Bruno Mars's Nothing on You.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, deep lore on 2 p.m. But yeah, I think that it's important to have, you know, all shades of life be shown. I watched a really side note, rant time, whatever. I saw the most interesting TikTok about Aquafina the other day. And it was a TikTok from an Asian creator talking about Asian Americans who adapt Black scents and how part of the adaptation of the Black scent is not necessarily because of a deep love for Black culture in terms of like our history and our struggles and things like that, but more being attracted to Black culture in terms of like music and fashion and vibes, that kind of thing. But also it's being used as a tool of otherness. So there are Asian Americans who are uncomfortable with the model minority stereotype, who are like, I'm not going to be a doctor or a lawyer or, you know, this kind of uptight, super righteous individual. I'm flawed. I'm like the dummy in my family. And so in order to not seem like the other Asian people, I'll adapt another more familiar stereotype that maybe doesn't have as much pressure on it to be perfect, a Black stereotype. And so that's where coming into the Black scent and things like that, because it's like, I'm not those stuck up kind of stick in the mud Asian people. I'm cool Asian. And I'm cool Asian because I'm into Black culture. And it was interesting because I don't follow Awkwafina like that at all. I have not watched any of her movies or television shows. She appears in things that are like in the periphery, but like in terms of following her career, that's not me. But the TikToker who was talking about her is an Asian woman from Queens. And she was talking about how like early on in Aquafina's career, she was doing rap parodies. And on one of her lyrics, she was like, I'm not like the people, I'm not from Flushing. And apparently Flushing is a huge Asian enclave, mostly Chinese. And so by saying I'm not from Flushing, is basically saying like, I'm not like the majority of the Chinese people you might know here in New York. But it's just very interesting that she's like, actually, she's from this part of Queens and she's actually gone to like this really important school. She went to LaGuardia High School and like she actually was a very privileged person and was not from the hood. And that's the reason why it's so easy for her to not talk with a Black accent now. And that's why all the stuff she's doing now doesn't incorporate any of that Aquafina persona, because that's not genuinely her. And it's easy to take off a costume when it's not you. And so I found that to be a really interesting conversation, because I was thinking about that and about how you can be so desperate for representation that you'd rather have kind of like bad representation in order to not have the same old representation, if that makes any sense. Because the question does stand, if Aquafina, the character, didn't exist, would the actress have gotten on?
Probably not.
You
That's
know,
really sad part.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because obviously she can act, obviously she is talented, and it sucks that she has to put this cosplay thing going on in order to be able to be given an opportunity in the industry. Same thing with Jay Park. Part of what got Jay Park so popular in Korea is not just the fact that he was an American and he could do hip hop dancing, but also the fact that Jay was hip hop and he's kind of dangerous and he's got tattoos and he's very different than kind of what most men are told to be in Korea. And he was able to be that way because of the fact that he was raised in America. And, you know, Jay Park, I don't know necessarily would find the same level of success if he had spent his entire career trying to get mainstream in America. But that otherness,
you know, and I guess that's why Jessie like hasn't dropped the Black scent thing, is because the talent's not there.
Let's talk about it. If Jessie looked like Yuju from Girlfriend, but had all the same music, she would go nowhere.
Right.
But because Jessie has this really extreme look and this really extreme personality, it's almost like her popularity has more to do with who she's not than who she is. She's not typical. She is an outlier, much like Key is an outlier. And that's where her popularity comes from. But in terms of like, if you strip all the artifice away, if you take away her lips, if you take away her skin, if you take away her butt, if you take away her breasts, if you took away the Black scent, would there be something there? And the answer is not really. Not really. Because she's not a great rapper. She's not a great singer. She's an okay singer, but she's not a great singer. But she brings a persona with her to the table that causes people to be interested and engaged in that persona. Yeah. So, I don't know, it's just interesting. And we run into a lot of that in K-pop. Okay, K-pop corner time, guys. Sorry about this. We talked about it during FX a bit, but we didn't spend a lot of time on how much we distrust American K-pop idols. But it is a struggle to be a consumer of K-pop when you're not from Korea, you didn't grow up Korean, because we fight all these really silly internet battles about K-pop because we're far removed from it. So our way of engaging in it in a genuine way is through social media, because we don't live in a place where you hear K-pop on the radio, you see K-pop in commercials, K-pop's coming through the stores when you're walking down the street, it's just background, right? So because of that, our way of staying engaged in K-pop and our way of being connected to it is through social media and through what people say on social media and what people do on social media, because it doesn't really exist outside of social media for us in a lot of ways. And because of that, a lot of our deepest connections happen to be with idols who speak English, because English is a native language for us. And so it's easier to digest their personalities, the things that they do, the things that they say, when it's in a language that you understand. And American idols, for the longest time, have really banked off of that ability to speak English and therefore get extra engagement with non-Korean audiences because you're speaking a language in common and you're fluent in that language in common. But I feel like we haven't gotten an American idol who we can just adore because they're good at what they do. Like Ailey probably comes about as close as you can get to it.
Ailey, Tiffany.
Yeah. But like there's no American Beckon.
Right.
There's no American Kyungsoo.
Mm-hmm.
There's no American Suga. There's no American idol equivalent to that in Korea. And I want that. I want that. And I know people are like, Eric Nam, fuck out of here with Eric Nam. Quit talking to people about Eric Nam. We don't give a damn. I'm just saying, like, for real. Like,
I don't know how he survived this long with such little album sales and chart impact.
People talk about Eric Nam like he's some like super talented R&B singer. Eric Nam is mid.
It's the definition of mid.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I fucking went to Korea, because he's mid. Mm-hmm. And people talk about him like, oh, everything he's doing is just so awesome and his new album is so crazy. If Eric Nam was not an American in the K-pop universe, if he was just a Korean guy who's releasing music in America, he would be nothing in terms of social relevance. His whole platform is the fact that he's a fish out of water, but a familiar fish out of water. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I could spend all day talking about how much I hate Eric Nam, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Not Eric Nam, but there's a good live stream on Sam's video if you're a fan of Day 6, maybe if you're not a fan, where you cleared him. I mean, it was a solid 20-minute reading of Jay from Day 6, formerly of Day 6. It was honestly incredible. I clapped when you finished.
I feel like men who suffer from micro penis syndrome really need to get off the internet, because you're ruining things for regular people.
Yeah.
You know, your doctor, pull out what few inches you could salvage and then come back to social medias. But until you get that shit addressed, don't stand up here and rub your miniature clit and then talk about what a man you are. Nobody wants to hear that bullshit. You don't get to talk about women's affairs when you literally have a clitoris instead of a penis. Leave us alone.
Damn. Well, on that note, the next review we're doing is Mariah Carey. So that'll be our next music review. And speaking of how we wanted more diverse voices in Boys Love, we are going to be reviewing, of course, Call Me By Your Name, about privileged white people fucking. So, hey.
Call me by your name. Tell me you love me in private.
Speaking of that, we actually should, I haven't talked about it yet, but Sam, we should talk about it afterwards, about we need to one day do Moonlight.
Yes, we do. I've not seen Moonlight because I've been scared to watch Moonlight. Just to be really honest with you, there's some trauma in Moonlight that has been discussed when people have reviewed that movie that I'm not sure if I'm prepared for.
Oh, then we don't watch it then, because we won't be ready.
But I feel like I'll only know if I watch it. So I need to watch it. But it's just, there's something about Black children in sad situations that makes me sad as a parent of Black children. So that's why I've had a hard time making myself watch it.
Well, if you watch it and you feel like it's hard to talk about, then we won't watch it. I'm sure people understand. I didn't know that. I'm sorry to bring it up now.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It really is something I need to do better. But we're not watching Moonlight after Call Me By Your Name. the next thing we're watching after Call Me By Your Name is Scum.
Oh,
we have threatened it forever. It is the most commented thing on any videos we've done where people say, what should we watch next? And we're like, Scum, please.
I've been trying.
So I feel like it's only appropriate that after Call Me By Your Name, it is Scum. I'm not sure who our next music is going to be after Mariah Carey, because Mariah Carey is actually going to be featuring our good friend Alex.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so
did we ask Alex yet? Is he gonna work?
Alex said in the comment section for FX that he is doing Mariah Carey with us. He said, I will make it work.
Okay, cool. So he'll be here for Mariah Carey. You picked Mariah Carey, so then I pick, and I'll probably pick someone K-pop or Ariana Grande, but we'll see. I don't know if I could stomach doing Mariah Carey and Ariana Grande back to back. I feel like that's setting myself up for some failure, and I don't want that. So we'll see what I pick. I don't know. Oh, maybe Girls' Generation. We'll see.
We'll see. But whatever we pick, just know we're always going to come to you with the slander. So just be prepared for that. For Mariah Carey, I cannot wait, because Alex, much like ourselves, is very opinionated. So I can't wait to share this with him.
Oh man, if only, honestly, the fact we never recorded any of our verses is a shame, because shit got rough.
I have all of my playlists from when we did verses, and if at any time we want to like not do a deep dive and just do a verses discussion, I'm prepared, because we did Shiny versus Infinite. That was a ride.
That was good.
Yeah, and then we did Big Bang versus BTS. I think that was a ride.
Yeah, there were some hard ones. I lost a lot of ones that I feel like I shouldn't have lost, and I'm still a little bitter about that. So I don't know if I'm ready to dive back into verses.
Well, okay, you won one that to this day I'm like, if different songs had been selected, I'm not sure if you would have won.
It's the worst part is like, for the 20, it was 21 versus Girls' Generation. And they're my top two favorite, they're my ultimate bias groups. Like, I love both of them. And Jade, her ultimate group is also 21. So I did Girls' Generation. And I just remember looking at Jade's list. And Jade, if you're watching, I love you. But some of those choices I didn't understand. And I was like,
there was a lot of very early 2NE1. And I remember thinking like the entire Crush album is just sitting there waiting for you to.
Yeah, that would have been my crutch, was like the Crush album kind of eats. Honestly, the ballad section could have been cleared by 21, and it was like, I don't know, it was just, yeah. But there was like, I'm still kind of mad about Red Velvet and EXO, because I feel like I put up a really good fight. And I feel like y'all are just biased towards EXO.
Red Velvet versus EXO? Did we do Red Velvet versus EXO?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I thought we did EXO
Alex, and we both said very mean things about each other's groups.
Well, to be fair, I don't know. EXO, I love Red Velvet. Oh gosh, we're supposed to get off here, but this is gonna be the last thing we talk about before we get off here. I love Red Velvet, but when EXO was at their best, they were practically unbeatable. I'm sorry, just the very first like swooping sound for Call Me Baby, like it's over. When you first hear like as soon as that happens, like it's over. Like what? Our overdose? I mean, come on. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. There are moments in EXO's catalog that, as much as I love Red Velvet and as good as Red Velvet are, I just feel like EXO came with it. Also, we talked about this during our FX review. Y'all fucked Red Velvet over for ballads, and EXO has always had the opportunity to have beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful layered ballads, and they never give Red Velvet that shot.
Oh yeah, Red Velvet, there were two choices. It was Kingdom Come and One of These Nights, and those are like the only options for like a good, juicy Red Velvet ballad.
Yeah, meanwhile, I mean, the answer right off the bat.
You have deep solo work to go in for the ballads for EXO as well. It really is weird because SM has great ballads. I don't know what they're doing with FX, or Red Velvet. But anyways, yes. Next one will be Mariah Carey. After that, Call Me By Your Name. Not looking forward to that one still. I love it. I love that movie. I don't know
why you're so upset. You act like I plan on killing your dog. He's already dead.
If you don't like that movie, I'm honestly gonna take that hard. Like, when you said you're worried about me watching Color Purple, I'm not worried about you watching Call Me By Your Name. Like, that movie is, I love film. I've dedicated my life to film. I went to film school. Call Me By Your Name is no joke, top 5 favorite movies for me. There's something about it that like touches my spirit, like my spirit just so deeply. And I just got into a fight about it a few days ago at work, and I'm just like bitter and sad. And I feel like a lot of the complaints people have about Call Me By Your Name are not wrong, but like when you dig further, it doesn't quite add up. And yes, I am talking about that if you've seen it. So
I haven't seen it yet. I've been waiting until we do the review because I wanted to be fresh. But I will say this. I think in a time when being politically correct, or at least acknowledging things that are problematic, has become such a hallmark of the way that we discuss culture. Mm-hmm. And we kind of can't even enjoy a lot of media without acknowledging episodes of ableism and racism and homophobia and child abuse and things like that. It does make it harder to have discussions about mm-hmm. media, because we're like, before we get into the meat and potatoes of what's being presented on the screen, let's acknowledge trigger warnings. Let's acknowledge this, that, the mm-hmm. other, to the point that if a movie or a television show broaches a super sensitive, very highly combative topic, the fact that the topic exists in the media sometimes overtakes the way that that topic is approached.
Yeah.
And that does make it difficult to have conversations. But I feel like in terms of the way that we've been reviewing media so far, we have tried to do our best to get past that and talk about the way that the approach has made us feel.
Yeah, I feel like the review should be fine, because it's not nearly as, there's problematic elements. It's not nearly as problematic as like a Tharn type, because that was like a nightmare of problematic elements going on there. Whereas Call Me By Your Name has stuff, but I feel like it's stuff that like, it makes, I don't know how to describe it other than like, it works for the narrative at play. And I don't think they're doing it to be creepy or be problematic to be problematic. I think they're doing it to really sell us an interesting story. Because honestly, problematic stuff can be very interesting. Just because it's problematic doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's so much problematic shit out there that is so great. And it's just like, this is horrible, but at the same time, I love this. I can't get enough of it. And I don't think that we give enough grace to that. I don't think we give enough grace to like time or entertainment. I definitely feel like there are some things that we absolutely need to confront head on when it comes to media.
Right.
And I think things like bad actors in media absolutely should be addressed. Like the whole Joss Whedon thing, going back and looking at his material, I don't think it's fair to be like, oh, we love Buffy, but then not talk about some of these really hyper destructive tropes that are found throughout his work.
Yeah, same with like a Harry Potter fan. And I used to love Harry Potter. I mean, loved Harry Potter. I literally tried to watch the first movie in like December, and I had to stop like 30 minutes in because I just couldn't do it, you know?
Yeah.
It's sad. Man, sorry, we keep going.
No, but I only mention it because Stephanie actually has read the book for Call Me By Your Name. I'm sorry, Stevie. Stevie's read the book. Stevie's also watched the movie, and the person who wrote the book, there are some problematic elements to the book
that are not in the movie.
They're not in the movie, but you know, it's also like somebody had to imagine this scenario the way that they did, and the source material, I think they did the best they could to adjust it, but there's a lot of problems with the source material that made it to where it was unavoidable in trying to bring it to the screen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's but I'm looking forward to it in just the sense that like I could talk for hours about, I really could just talk for hours about that movie. I rewatched it again a few days ago. Not to prepare, just because I wanted to watch it.
So it should be really exciting when we finally do talk about it. But until we do talk about it, let's stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And let's just prepare you guys for the next time you hear from us. It's going to be with Mariah Carey. Also, I don't know when we're going to upload the Mariah Carey review, only because we have been doing back to back every single week recently, which is not our normal. And so I don't know when we're going to upload that. Number one, we have to get on Alex's schedule. But number two, we kind of need a little bit of a break. I mean, I filmed while I was sick with COVID. And so I'm just letting you guys know now, yeah, a bitch might need a breather.
Yeah, we might take a couple weeks.
Yeah, so don't be mad at us if you don't hear from us for a minute, because we have been giving you content. We've got plenty of stuff for you guys to watch. You don't have to miss us. You never have to miss us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you all for watching, and I am excited to see you all in the next one. Bye.
Bye.